Dear colleagues, first of all, I'd like to say that it's my pleasure to present my paper here, and I hope it will be just entertainment for you. My paper is devoted to a literary trifle, A Lover's Divination book by Sumarokov. It was published at the Academy of Sciences in St. Petersburg at the expense of the cabinet of Her Imperial Majesty Catherine the Great in 1774. The usual circulation for that time was 1,200 copies. Then, due to its popularity, the book was reprinted several times. The small book of just 20 pages, a curious cultural product, excites few questions. I will focus on two what questions and two why questions. To begin with, what is the structure of the book and the way of divination? It's in Russian, Любовной, гадательной, книжке, and this is Sumarokov. Certain amorous verses were drawn by Sumarokov from 6 of his tragedies: Horace, Sinapan Trubar, Semira, Irakok and Deniza, Vyacheslav, and Dmitri the Pretender, to pass the time dividing one's fortune in love. They were divided into 6 chapters. The procedure of telling one's fortune was as follows: through one die, which will direct you to one of the 6 chapters. Then through 2 dice, and you look whatever number comes up, it indicates the verses which answer the question to be divided. For example, when the thrown die points to number 6, one should look for the 6th chapter. And when both dice will show 5 and 6, for example, 5 and 6, you will direct to prediction number 20. And the answer will be as follows: I see no distemper in myself when I'm near you. All paths and meanings are filled with you. Or if the die points 1, you should open the 1st chapter, and when both dice will show 1 and 6, your answer is what we desire and what we find so pleasing, seems always to be far beyond our grasp. As you can see, it wasn't the real divination, it was just the game in love, just amorous entertainment. But why did Sumarokov choose the fortune-telling genre? I should say a few words about divinations and lotteries, in jest and in earnest. Lotteries gave health and chance, the idea of winning happiness, that everyone can get a new fate, was legalized by the authorities. The first lottery was organized by Peter the Great, and then by Elizaveta and Catherine the Great. The wheel of fortune assigned a new system of relations, a game with fate with the higher power, and the chance to win granted by royal permission was not yet the only one. The multiplicity of attempts announced multivarious lines of life, created the opportunity to change your position in society. The lottery virus was widely spread in the Russian society of the time, and the authorities were struggling with it by the word of law, and the enlighteners by the word of satire. But despite all their effort, the games with fortune entrapped and entertained, seduced and tempted, with rapid enrichment and the help to change the destiny. At that time, in addition to 2 main types of lotteries, love and number ones, a love lottery was held. It didn't promise material benefits, but promised amorous bliss, to see a lover, to follow him or her everywhere, to parent to fire, to understand the perfection of the object of love. The new time gave rise to...
Just postpone.
To postpone. Okay, thank you. It's to get in Russian. Russian society of the 18th century. In the two Russian capitals of that time, some noble women couldn't imagine their breakfast without morning of divination. From a mystical ritual and page for questioning, divination went into a new sphere in Russian culture, the sphere of leisure and pleasant pastime. Due to the development of publishing and translation, the divination book translations appeared on the book market. Oracles, dream books, palmistry, physiognomy manuals, and so on. Enlightenment traveled with the soothsayers, accusing them of fraud. The enlightened Sumarokov chose a different way. He created his divination just for fun, but love and gallant fun. The contours of Russian culture became much more complicated than several decades before. Divination with the old function of prediction was exposed to reproof. Divination as, God bless you, divination as entertainment was approved. The love fortune-telling book was created as the crossing of these fashion trends. Sumarokov used the brand of cultural phenomenon, mass divination practices. He was capable to capture the mood of society and to respond it by the creation of artworks. The next question is, why did Sumarokov create a divination for lovers? Sumarokov's book was connected with the new concept of love in Russia. Since the beginning of the century, Russian culture had adopted hitherto unknown Western practice of gallant relations, love vassalage, and a new understanding of love. The reforms of Peter the Great, particularly the Peter's assemblies, gave women a new status. And it shouldn't be forgotten, this new status was also promoted by a few women on the Russian throne. Sumarokov knew a lot about love, and like Triviakovsky, he advocated a new concept of love. Moreover, a lover's divination book had prototypes. A few years earlier, Sumarokov, already a mature poet, recognized by the court, the chief in the Russian Parnassus, because Lomonosov had already died, composed amorous couplets. Probably these couplets were used as addition to sweets, a verbal flavoring for secular game. But they were not elegant, just funny, and even rude. For example, you have an ugly face, it doesn't look like my lover's face. Or, I pitied you, my old thing, take a sugar, a sweet piece of it. We don't know the rules of this love lottery, we can only guess them by couplets, in which there are indications of sweet treats. A fun game didn't mean secret reading, but reading predictions aloud. I envy the ticket, my friend, that's in your hands. Sumarokov didn't not neglected love sayings, which were intended to pass the time. Some of them are inaccurate quotations from Sumarokov's love songs. The prize fund of the lottery has essential promises, entertainment, and gallant pastime. However, the drawing of love prediction retained the principle of the game with fate, the opportunity to pick up a love flower. 116 options of amorous situation presented in the tickets formed a paradigm of love, which included a variety of twists and turns of facetious gallant relations, sometimes having universal character, often gender-marked. A couplet ticket contained one of many possible embodiments of love relationships. So, Sumarokov had experience, abilities, and wishes to write love verses, but there was one more reason to create the divination for lovers. The writer arrived into the northern capital on the eve of the new 1774, and in February of the same year, Catherine the Great could not not resist the charm of Grigory Potemkin, a 6-foot-tall handsome man who got an apartment in the palace rapidly. And, according to rumors, in the autumn of the same year, the empress and her lover was secretly married. The publication of Sumarokov's love book was likely provoked by the author's desire to please Catherine the Great, who at that time was passionately in love with her new favorite. The writer created a truly gallant variant of love tickets, love oracle book, consisting of 126 couplets of his own tragedies. The alcohol tickets got the form of book, and intermediaries between lovers and Providence were dice. Love appeared in its highest incarnation of tragedy. And what kind of love was presented in Sumarokov's Divination? It included just few situations. Most of the couplets predict to love and to suffer. A small number to love and to be happy. Several of them not to love at all, and only some of them betrayal in love. One of the main purposes of this book was create a loving mood, to spend time playing the game with love beats rhymed in elegant verses. Love passion, love torment, love sickness, such kinds of love appear in Sumarokov's Divination. The main characters of love couplets were I and you, suffering in usual life, love or in its failure, or I in torments of unrequited feeling. Sumarokov's Divination had almost no love triangle. To imagine where love cases took places is almost impossible. The feeling love is not inscribed into the concrete space. It has no historical detail. This is the transitional space where the lovers are falling in love wherever they are. And of course, Sumarokov made the same transformation of time. It isn't historical time, it's a special love time. In general, lovers' characters mention the present and the future. They focus on what is now and what will calm down their hearts. But this love can't overcome the limits of earthly love. The boundaries between life and death, the heavenly love beyond human life will have been opened or will have been created in the Romanticism time. Romantics will fill the word forever with its direct meaning. For Sumarokov, with his rational vision of the world, love had the objective finale. Among couplets which were cut from high tragedies couldn't include erotic scenes, such as in elegies, in one of which the lover complained that his sweetheart was shamelessly sitting on the lap of another man. Despite the fact of rewriting the Divination, couplets retain high tragic style. Relationships between lovers are chaste. They are almost disembodied. It is high suffering, love, intoxication. And one more curious aspect of the book. What is the special using of the word? Summarokov's book has a paradigm of love composed of already found delicate love nuances. It bears thinking and metrics, mechanics, which are usually hidden from the readers. It bears the process of the book creation. Sumarokov takes his 6 tragedies and divides, maybe it's better to say cuts them into lines, collects some lines, and creates a new text with a different structure, with another function, and with new meanings. Committing this engineer act, Sumarokov didn't worry about the destruction of the old meanings, the meanings of high tragedies. The words and rhymes are residual building blocks for his work now. Making up the Divination book of his own quotes, Sumarokov relies enlightenment, a serious poet transformed the tragedies with the enlightenment ideas into the trifle, for fun, just for passing time. This fact sets up the big problem of Sumarokov's art method of the time, and the art method in general, and it connected with one more side of this cultural product. Sumarokov's Divination book appeals laws, not only literary, but arithmetic laws. Playing dice and their combinations dictate the structure of the book. The quantity of chapters was determined by the amount of numbers on one die, and this is 6. The quantity of gentle couplets in each chapter is the quantity of possible combination using 2 dice, which is 21. So the arithmetic and dice provided the book structure that was filled with delicate couplets. This feature is related to an important theory of the time, to Leibniz's Ars Combinatoria. In 1666 in Leipzig, a 20-year-old bachelor of law, Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, published his dissertation about the combinatorial art. He continued the research of ancient combinatorial laws, which he named combinatoria. The grandiose science project had to prove and to demonstrate the versatility of combinatoria, examined its principle to all areas of material science in the respective applications: art of war, law, geometry, medicine, theology, logic, color mixing, and literature. According to Leibniz, all complicated things and concepts could be broken down into simple elements, first principles, and could constitute the alphabet of human thought. A combination of these first principles leads to discovery of new truths, derivatives of the old ideas. The scientists insist on the universality of these theses, on the possibility of its using in all sciences and arts. In a lover's divination book, the combinatorial idea was realized brightly and curiously. Sumarokov did analytical and poetic work. At the same time, he chose some tragic replicas which were largely repeating each other and classified them by chapters, creating a combination of 21 couplets. He demonstrated the combinatorial technique in its pure form. The mechanism of generation of new text was naked here, almost completely elegant to readers. The strategies became a resource that contained a set of primary properties of love and love experience terms. Couplets were the building material of the Divination book. Sumarokov created a universal field of love by using primary elements, his sayings about love. Thus, by the end of the 18th century, leisure, pastime, entertainment had formed their own niche. The secular entertainment culture, which received technical printing support from books like Sumarokov, a lover's divination book. Love couplets from high tragedies got a second life and were meant for gallant pastime. The trifle illustrates various and important trends in the culture of the 18th century. Culture of modern times, in comparison with the culture of the ancient Russia, which was subordinate to the unified Christian idea, acquired multidimensionality and diversity. The same event